Morning. Once again, it's morning motivation with the Motor-Vator at the office this morning. Oh man, workout almost got rained out. But look here we go. This is part 2 of Ask the Motor-Vator series / the Motor-Vator. Morning Motor-Vator, morning with the Motor-Vator. I've been getting some inboxes finally, not any questions yet, but people just compliment me on what I'm doing. Keep doing it, inspire me, motivating me, which I'm already motivated because I'm the motivator. I think I had one message from one of my partners in ATL. It was like, hey, most people sleep, which I understand that, but we have to realize that the majority of us is walking around in a deep hypnotic sleep, and I told him, hey, I'm going to wake up that sleeping giant within him. So I have a question this morning. I don't think I've asked it so far yet, but I want to ask everybody. It's 24 hours in a day. You have 3 slashes of 8 hours. You work for 8 hours, then you go home and sleep for 8 hours. Those other 8 hours, what are you doing with those 8 hours? Someone asked me that a long time ago. I mean, probably about maybe 20 years ago. And I've been thinking about it since. And I want you to think about this. This is the reason I've been successful. I know I've been successful because successful people do what the unsuccessful don't or won't or think they can't. But I have a bat and I knock the T off a can't. So that's what I want you to do. Also, I want you to think about this. I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna break this down in my workshop. It's coming up soon. I had a guy that was African-American guy, and he was probably in his early 30s, and he was retired. He was a millionaire. And it blew me away, and I was living in Atlanta. And I tried to get him to help me, but I know he was too busy. But he had a meeting at his house, and he had this guy that was probably a millionaire too also. And he said this statement, and I've been thinking about it ever since. It took me a long time to really get it, and I'm gonna break this down in the workshop. He said, it's easier to make $1 million than it is to make $100,000. Now let me explain something to you. When he said that, I don't know if you've ever had a dog or a puppy and they heard a noise and their ears move kind of a certain way. Well, when he said that, my ears moved. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? I didn't understand that. I couldn't grasp it. It took me years, and I heard it again from a millionaire. And he said the same thing, and for some reason it was like a ton of bricks. It hit me, and I figured it out. And it is. A lot of people don't understand that. But you have to understand scaling, leveraging, and things like that. And I understand it now. That's why I teach it. And the things that I'm doing, most people tell me once I really sit down with them for hours and hours and show them what I'm doing. I talk to these companies. I actually call companies that deal with Subway and Coca-Cola. They're branding companies. And I told them my marketing plan, my campaign plan for my book, and all these type of things, and what I'm doing, my brand. And they said, Tim, we can't help you. I'm like, what are you talking about? They said, well, what you're doing basically is what we tell companies to do, these large corporations to do. And I'm like, okay, but I want to go to the next level. I need some help. They said, no, you're on the right path. And I'm not going to break down what they said. It was just about a 15-minute conversation, but I'm going to go over that in my workshop and the seminar that's coming up. But to break down kind of the understanding of $1 million is easier than